Level 1, the invisible. Nobody at the coffee shop knows your name is on more Shell accounts than the barista has had jobs. You order the same drip coffee every morning, pay in cash, tip exactly the same amount every time. Predictable? Forgettable. That's the entire point. You are 26 years old and you manage more capital than most regional banks, and not one person in this city knows it. Not your landlord, not the woman you've been seeing for 4 months, not your parents, who still ask if the trading thing is paying the bills yet. You let them ask. You let them believe you're scraping by. It's easier than explaining the truth, and the truth doesn't actually need anyone else's permission to keep working. It started small the way these things always start. A modest inheritance, a laptop, and an obsessive, borderline unhealthy relationship with market microstructure that began at 19 and never really let go. You read order flow the way other people read faces. You see the hesitation in a bid-ask spread before anyone else notices it's there. You built your first real model at 21 in a bedroom that still had your childhood posters on the wall, and it worked well enough that you deleted your social media accounts a year later. On purpose, because visibility is the one input that breaks every model you've ever built. You don't have an office. You don't have a firm name. You have 3 laptops, a VPN stack that changes weekly, and a trading identity that exists only as a string of LLC names registered in states that don't ask many questions. The regulators who would care about what you're doing have never heard your actual name, and you intend to keep it that way for as long as the math allows. You close a position today that nets more than most people make in 3 years. You don't celebrate. You make dinner. You wash the pan. You go to bed at a normal hour like a person with a normal job, because tomorrow the market opens at the same time it always does, indifferent to what you made or lost the day before, and indifference is the only opinion that has ever mattered to you. Level 2, the discipline. 6 months into running real size, you learn the thing nobody tells you about this life. The money isn't the hard part. The silence is the hard part. You get invited to a friend's birthday dinner, and someone asks what you do for a living. You say consulting the way you've practiced saying it, flat and boring enough that nobody follows up. It works. It always works. Boring answers don't invite questions. You've learned this the same way you learned market timing, through repetition, through small failures that taught you exactly where the edges are. Your trading isn't reckless. That surprises people when they picture what secret trader means. There's no adrenaline in it. Not anymore. You run models that flag inefficiencies across markets most retail traders don't even know exist. Cross-exchange arbitrage windows measured in milliseconds, options mispricing around earnings that closes within hours, structural gaps in less liquid instruments that larger funds are too big to bother exploiting. You are, by design, too small to be interesting to regulators and too precise to be interesting to competitors. The sweet spot is narrower than people think, and you spend most of your discipline simply staying inside it. You built a rule in year 1 that you still follow religiously. No position sized large enough that losing it would change how you sleep. You've broken that rule exactly twice, both times early, both times a lesson expensive enough to never need repeating. The second time cost you 11 months of profit in 4 days. You remember the exact number. You will always remember the exact number. It's the only thing in this business that ever actually scared you. Your calendar has no client meetings because you have no clients. Your money is your money. And that single fact removes an entire category of stress that every fund manager you've ever quietly studied seems to carry around like a second job. No investors calling during a drawdown. No quarterly letters explaining yourself. No performance anxiety that isn't purely your own. You realize somewhere around month 8 that the absence of an audience is the actual product you've built for yourself, more valuable than any single trade. Level 3, the growth. A year and a half in, the numbers start doing something they weren't supposed to do this fast, compounding in a way that makes your own spreadsheets feel slightly unreal when you open them. You've stopped trading exclusively for yourself. Not publicly, never publicly, but there's a small, quiet circle now. 4 people. People you trust completely who noticed your results informally and asked carefully if there was any way in. You said yes to exactly 4. You could have said yes to 40. You didn't, because 40 people talking is a leak waiting to happen, and 4 people who understand the value of silence is a manageable risk you can actually model. You structure it the way everything else in your life gets structured. Invisibly. No fund name. No pooled account with your name attached. Separate managed accounts, separate agreements, nothing that would show up as a single entity if anyone ever went looking. You are functionally running a fund that on paper does not exist. The first real test of the whole arrangement comes during a sharp 3-day drawdown that takes 11% off the portfolio in a single week. 2 of your 4 quiet investors call you, panicked the way normal investors panic. You talk them down using the same flat, practiced voice you use for consulting, calm, detached, indifferent to the noise. You don't take their fear personally, and you don't let it change a single decision in your model. 3 weeks later, the drawdown fully recovers and adds another 4% on top. Nobody outside that circle of 4 will ever know it happened. That's the part that satisfies you more than the recovery itself. You buy a modest condo with cash through an LLC on purpose, unremarkable in every visible way. Same car as always, same coffee order. The only thing that's actually changed is a number in an account nobody can see, growing at a rate that would make headlines if it ever had a name attached to it. It never will. Level 4, the offer. 2 years in, someone finds you. Not through a leak, not through carelessness, like through pattern recognition. The exact skill you built your entire life around, except this time someone else was doing the recognizing. A former quant from a mid-sized hedge fund reaches out through a mutual contact, having noticed unusual, consistent alpha showing up in a handful of less liquid instruments over 18 months. He doesn't know your name. He knows a signature, a style, a pattern of behavior in the market that a handful of people in the world would recognize as belonging to the same actor. You meet him once in a diner 2 states from where you live, and you tell him almost nothing true about yourself. He offers you a formal role at his fund. 6 figures base, real title, real recognition among people who would actually understand what you've built. You turn it down in under 30 seconds. He looks genuinely confused, the way people who value visibility above everything else always look when someone declines it on purpose. You don't explain that visibility is the one thing you've spent 5 years engineering your entire life to avoid. You just say you're not interested, and you mean every word of the flat, boring sentence. He tries once more a few weeks later, offering a consulting arrangement instead. No title, no employment record, just quiet access to your models in exchange for capital and infrastructure you don't currently have. This one actually tempts you. You think about it for 4 days, running the math the way you run everything, weighing the marginal value of institutional-grade infrastructure against the one thing you've protected since year 1. Total invisibility. You decline that too in the end, because every partnership is a new person who knows your name, and every new person who knows your name is a probability you can't fully model. Level 5, the discovery. 3 years in, the closest call of your entire career happens on an ordinary Tuesday, and it doesn't come from a regulator or a rival. It comes from your own landlord. He mentions casually over a routine maintenance visit that a man came by asking questions about you a few weeks back. A man with a badge that wasn't quite a badge, asking about your income, your work, whether you kept unusual hours. Your landlord, uninterested and unbothered, told him you seemed like a normal, quiet tenant and sent him on his way. You thank him. You don't sleep that night. You spend the next 96 hours doing something you haven't done in over a year, actually auditing your own operational security from scratch, checking every LLC, every account, every digital fingerprint you might have left somewhere careless. You find exactly one mistake, a single wire transfer 18 months earlier that used a personal email address instead of the burner you were supposed to use exclusively. One mistake, buried in thousands of transactions, and it's the kind of mistake that regulators build entire investigations around if they ever find it first. You fix it, you restructure 3 accounts entirely. You cut contact with one of your four quiet investors, the one whose brother works adjacent to a regulatory body, the one relationship you should have flagged as risk from day one and didn't, because you liked him personally and let that cloud a decision that should have been purely structural. It's the hardest conversation of your career, ending something that made you money because the risk profile changed. You don't regret it. You built this entire life around never letting personal comfort outweigh structural risk, and this was the first real test of whether you actually meant it. Level 6. The empire nobody sees. 5 years in, you manage a portfolio that, if it had a name attached and a marketing department behind it, would be written about in financial press as one of the best performing quiet funds nobody's ever heard of. It has neither. It has you, four trusted investors, and a version of yourself that barely resembles the 26-year-old who used to order the same coffee every morning out of habit rather than strategy. You still order the same coffee. That part never changed. The habit that started as camouflage became genuinely who you are somewhere along the way, and you're not entirely sure anymore where the performance ends and the actual person begins. You've turned down two more approaches since the hedge fund quant. One from a family office looking for uncorrelated returns, one from an actual regulator, disguised badly as a curious researcher studying market microstructure who asks slightly too many specific questions about small account arbitrage patterns. You handled both the same way. Politely, vaguely, completely unmemorably. Your net worth, on paper, across accounts that don't officially connect to each other, crosses a number that would put you on lists you have spent your entire adult life engineering yourself off of. You feel almost nothing reading it. The version of you that would have felt something died somewhere around year 2, replaced by someone who reads 8-figure totals the way most people read a grocery receipt. Necessary information, nothing more. Level 7, the weight. You are 31 years old. You have built something that would be extraordinary if anyone ever knew it existed, and its entire value depends on the fact that nobody ever will. A young trader messages you online one night, anonymously through a forum you haven't visited in years, recognizing a pattern in a public post you made under a name you thought you'd fully buried. He asks carefully, almost apologetically, if you're the person he thinks you are. You don't answer. You close the laptop. You sit in the quiet of an apartment nobody has ever properly seen, in a life nobody has ever properly witnessed, and you think about the coffee shop, the same drink, the same tip, the same forgettable face you've spent 5 years perfecting. You think about the four people who know the truth and the version of success you built specifically so that number would never grow to 5. You think about how strange it is to have built an empire whose entire architecture depends on nobody ever finding out it's yours, that the ultimate proof of your success is a total absence of evidence. Somewhere tonight, a 19-year-old is opening a laptop in a bedroom with posters still on the wall, discovering the exact same obsession that swallowed your entire 20s. They don't know yet what it costs to build something invisible on purpose. You already know. You just don't know anymore if the silence was ever really the price, or if it became, somewhere along the way, the entire point.